What's going on, movie fans? My name's Michael Weer. I like talking about movies, and I'm about to give you my Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler-free review. Usually I just jump right into my reviews, but I wanted to take a second to say that this will be spoiler-free. Unless you're one of those people that's like, oh, it had comedy in it? Well, that's a spoiler. So if you're like that, this movie won't be for you at all, because I am going to give you my normal positives and negatives for the movie and tell you whether or not I recommend you see this one in theaters. That will be normal, but I will not go into any spoiler details in this video. That said, if you do want spoilers, I will be dropping a spoiler-filled review in the next couple of days, so keep on the lookout for that. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, make sure the notifications are on so that you get notified when I drop my spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine. But for now, let's do the spoiler-free review for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Who knows if you live or die? Let's fucking go!
Let's fucking go.
Deadpool and Wolverine is the third movie in the Deadpool franchise. It's directed by Sean Levy, and it brings back Ryan Reynolds once again as the Merc with a Mouth, Deadpool. And of course, finally, we get to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine in a movie again, because it's been since 2017, since Logan came out, that we got to see Hugh Jackman shoot those claws out of his arms and cut people's limbs off. And this is an R-rated movie where you get to see Wolverine cut people's limbs off, and you will not be disappointed. So we got the actors back that we've been wanting for years, but what was this movie about? Well, that's hard for me to say, because again, this is a spoiler-free review. I'll just try to give you what the trailers gave you, and that is that Deadpool is on a mission to stop a world-ending event and is recruiting Wolverine to help him. Now, I know that's not a very good synopsis. I know that's not giving you a lot, but I really don't want to spoil things for you. This is a spoiler-free review, so if that sounds like an interesting plot to you, maybe you're an MCU fan, maybe you're a big Fox X-Men universe fan, maybe you love Deadpool or Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, well, then this movie is for you, and you should check it out in theaters because it is playing now. With all that said, let's get into my positives and some of my negatives. I'll be honest with you guys, getting into the positives of this movie, these are positives you're probably going to hear in a lot of other YouTube reviews, because these are the spoiler-free positives that we can give you. But what makes my video different? Well, I'm drinking Pure Leaf tea. Pure Leaf tea. They don't sponsor me, but they should. Did you guys see Lindsay Lohan got a Pure Leaf tea commercial before I did? Good for her. It does make me sad. I love Lindsay Lohan. Like, we're good, but she got a Pure Leaf tea sponsorship before me. Oh, well. All right. Let's jump into my positives. First positive I have for this movie is going to be the comedy. Oh my God, this movie is hilarious. And did we expect anything different going into a Deadpool movie after the previous two Deadpool movies? Absolutely not. And we were given what we expected, comedy from the very beginning of this film. And I can't really go into the different comedic scenarios that this movie does, because again, a lot of it is hidden. So if you saw something in the trailer that made you laugh, just know they only showed you about 5% of the comedy in this film. And the other 95% of comedy is jam-packed into this movie. You are going to laugh from the opening scene till the ending scene. In just about every scene of this movie, you will be laughing. I can't go into why I laughed, because those would be spoilery things. Just trust me, the movie is funny. That leads to my next positive, and of course we got to talk about the action and violence. This is an R-rated, bloody MCU movie. Does the R rating fit the MCU? And absolutely it does. I know it was announced the other day that when we eventually do get the Blade movie, it is going to be rated R. And I've still been very iffy. I'm like, what's rated R to Marvel? Like, they're going to say fuck a couple of times. Like, what is that going to be? If the upcoming Blade movie is rated R and it's in the same vein as the gore and violence of this Deadpool film, then we are in for a treat, because oh my God, they take the gore and violence in this movie. Like, I can't believe Disney did some of the grotesque, disgusting things that Deadpool does to his victims in this movie. One scene in particular I can't talk about. It's in my mind. It has to do with Wolverine's claws. I couldn't believe that they did that scene. It was so much fun. But yeah, the action, the violence, it's right there. It's what you're wanting. Again, if you've seen the first two Deadpool movies, you are getting more of that, but you're getting so much more, and so much more blood, and honestly, so much more polish to the film. And I don't know if that's because the first two movies were in the Fox universe. You know, the first movie they were just kind of iffy on. They're like, we'll see if it does well. Then they threw a ton of money at the second movie. But this movie just looks cleaner. It looks more polished. And maybe that's because it's in the MCU family.
Family, 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 family.
Next positive I have is going to slow down a little bit because it's the emotional beats for this film mostly coming from Hugh Jackman. Yes, Deadpool has a little bit of emotional beats because he is really driving the plot of this film, but it's Hugh Jackman in this movie driving the Wolverine story that really brings the emotion out. And again, I can't go into it, but there's a scene in this movie that legitimately will bring tears to your eyes when you're realizing how hurt this Wolverine is. Now, maybe it won't bring tears to your eyes if you're not like a lifelong X-Men or Wolverine fan, but if you are, if you understand the pain that Logan has gone through all of these years, and then you see it in this character, you see it in his eyes, it'll bring you to tears. It really will, and it's beautifully done. I've got another obvious positive for you guys, and that would be Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman's chemistry as Deadpool and Wolverine, because they really have great on-screen chemistry together. Now, that is not shocking to everybody, because if you've seen them in commercials, you've seen them in real life, you've seen them perform or do things together already, you know that they're best friends in real life. So was that going to translate into film? And yes, it does. It translates so well. These two fit together so well, and it's so fun to watch them go back and forth with each other, make fun of each other, fight each other, just have an all-out blast. They really do present a great friendship with each other on screen, and you can just feel that chemistry between the two of them. My final positive for this movie is going to be those wild and exciting cameos you may or may not have heard about. Everybody knows there was going to be cameos in this movie, so I don't feel like saying there's cameos is a spoiler. I won't reveal who, but one of the people that shows up in this movie made me say holy shit, along with almost the entire theater, and everybody lost it at that moment. That was so cool to see. It's a moment that I'll remember probably forever. It's just a great theater moment. Couldn't believe this person showed up. And so when you see that, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've seen the movie, you probably know what I'm talking about. That'll lead me to my negatives. My first negative for this movie is going to be the plot is pretty weak when it comes to the storyline itself. Now, I'm not saying I didn't get enjoyment out of this entire movie. Like I said, I laughed a lot, I cried a little bit. There were some emotions that they were able to pull out of me, whether it was joy or sadness. These characters portrayed things, these characters that I've followed for so many years, had things happening to them, and I cared about these characters. But when it comes to the storyline, the meat and potatoes, the plot of this film, there just wasn't a lot there. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I am throwing this in the negative column because I felt like they could have given us a little bit better of a story, maybe a little more meat on that bone, but there just wasn't. So when you get out of this film, you had a good time with it, but as I saw this movie 24 hours ago and now I'm thinking about it, I'm just kind of like, yeah, it wasn't very deep. If you're going into this movie for a deep, serious plot, keep in mind you're seeing Deadpool and Wolverine, but also there have been comic book films with a deeper plot to them, and this movie just didn't have it. That said, I put it in the negatives, but I don't care. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. And that's really my only negative for this movie. I have another, but it's very spoiler adjacent, and I really don't want to dive into spoilers on this thing. So I will say that I will mention my other negative for this film in my spoiler-filled review. Remember to check out my channel in the next couple days for that. Overall, I had a really fun time with this movie, guys. It's one of my favorite experiences in a movie so far this year. It is my favorite movie of 2024 as of right now. I know there's a lot of recency to it, so will that shift throughout the rest of the year? Maybe it happens. This time of year, last year, I saw Mission Impossible, and I think that ended up at 5, but when I saw it, it was like #1. So you never know what you're going to get. 2024 has been sort of a mid-year for movies, so I'm excited to see where Deadpool lines up, if anything can top the experience I had in the theater, or just this movie in general, because it was such a fun time. But those are just my opinions, because that's my review for Deadpool and Wolverine. Guys, if you had a chance to see this yet, if you have, let me know in the comment section down below what you liked about it, what you didn't like. Try to keep it spoiler-free down there, as I will have a spoiler video, and we can talk spoilers in the comments on that video. Finally, guys, if you like this video and you want to watch more, don't forget to hit the like button, because it helps the video, it helps the channel, and it helps me right here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Alright guys, we got to the end of my Deadpool and Wolverine review, and this was my most anticipated movie of 2024. I loved making this review, just getting to talk about this movie again. I feel so much energy and excitement for this movie. Can't wait to dive into a spoiler review. But till then, if you like this video and you want to check out other content on my channel, well, I've got all of my 2023 movie reviews right there, and I've got all of my 2024 movie reviews right there.